Hello, thank you for clicking on this reading. So today's reading is going to be, what perspective shift do you need to be in alignment with your highest timeline? Pretty simple. If you have like a specific question for like where you need a perspective shift, you can also add that in, but I'm just kind of intending this to be in general. So yeah, I'm gonna have a bunch of oracle cards and then get tarot to get more details. So we have a card for each pile and also a clip. Don't be fooled by how tiny this clip is. I just I'm running out of things to use, so I used clips and this is cute. So anyways, pile one, we have Rain is the card, and it says cleansing, purification, hydration, with this Hello Kitty clip. For pile two, we have Snow, rest, and contemplation, with the baby clip. And for pile three, we have harvest with determination and hard work. And this Keroppi clip. So I'm just gonna move my hands out of the way if you want to pause and take a breath and really feel the energy of each of the piles to see which one or ones you feel drawn to. And yeah, we're gonna get started with pile one. Hi, pile one, if you chose Hello Kitty and Rain, these are your other cards. So let's get into it. You have the 10th soul remedy, the mountains. New moon in Pisces, attuned to the divine. Healing moon, seek healing. And you are good enough, full moon in Virgo. So, first of all, if you're going through a bit of a tougher time right now, or just a time that you might already know that what you're going through is healing, but if you didn't know and you haven't been told that, and you're wondering kind of why you've been feeling difficult emotions lately, or just a little bit drained, or I don't even know if it's drained. It might actually be, it could be drained for some, but the energy could actually be amped up for others. But you're definitely on a path of healing right now, and a path of gaining a higher perspective already. I feel like, especially with the mountains card, it talks about rising above, and I feel like that is what's happening for you right now. I feel like you are, like, the perspective shift that you need, if you haven't already been like integrating this, is, again, if things are difficult right now, just know you're healing. It's to get into the energy of knowing that what you're going through, with discernment, of course, is part of your healing. Like, things that you're feeling is part of your healing journey, and take the lessons that you're learning and be kind to yourself during this, especially with this card, you are good enough. It's not the time to shame yourself or berate yourself or think that you deserve bad feelings, because that's not the case. It's taking because like I feel like lessons can sound harsh. By taking the lessons that you're learning, it's not about shaming yourself. It's about the complete opposite. It's about integrating, like there's integrating what you're learning, or integrating, I think I'm using that word right. I feel like I've just said it a lot, but the feelings are actually integrating in life what the feelings are teaching you, what they're trying to show you, because a lot of the time, sometimes we can have very difficult emotions, and sorry, my cat is drinking water over there, but anyways, we can have difficult emotions and use them to feel worse about ourselves, to dig ourselves deeper into a hole. And sometimes that's part of it. Sometimes that's, hitting rock bottom. I wouldn't say that's the case for like everyone here. I don't necessarily know if you're at like a rock bottom, because I don't know. If you're basically like, oh, I'm not going through like a bunch of pain, but like things have been a little bit difficult lately, this could still be your pile. But I'm just, saying that sometimes we use our emotions that way, and it can actually harm us. And it's a very positive thing to start viewing your emotions as something to nurture and nourish and take care of. See them as a part of yourself rather than something you need to shame yourself for. They're a part of you just like everything else, and they deserve care just like every part of you. And this card with rain, it made me think of a quote I just saw recently. I don't know who said this, but it was like, if you pray for flowers, don't be surprised when it rains. And I feel like that sums this up pretty perfectly. You're in the process of healing. You're in the process of learning to not be so hard on yourself. I feel like that is the perspective that you have to take here, is not being so hard on yourself, learning to trust yourself, not doubt yourself. I feel like attuning to the divine, this talks about attuning to your higher self. And I like that because it doesn't just talk about attuning to an outer purpose, it talks about attuning to you. Obviously there can be an outer external source that you believe in, but it's all connected, right? So this is about connecting to that external source, but also connecting to your higher self, specifically attuning to you. This is about getting connected to yourself. The more that you're able to, sorry about all the construction work outside, by the way, but anyways, the more that you're able to forgive yourself and, yeah, that word keeps coming up, forgive yourself and integrate the lessons in a positive way, rather than shaming yourself. And that is what needs to be done here. That's the perspective shift that needs to come into your life. And obviously it's a journey, but I feel like it's one that you're already on. One of these cards, I think it might be this one, or both. They talk about how if you're reading this, if you got this card, you're probably already in that process. I think this one as well. Like, you're already there. I also wanted to say Pisces, I believe, is like the last, at least in the book, it's the last sign before you start a new year. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. I need to learn more about astrology, but it's also a new moon, and I thought it was interesting. It's a new moon in the finishing cycle of the zodiac. So it's very obvious that this is leading to a new beginning for you. You're shedding old skin like a snake. Were we in the year of the snake recently? Because I know we're in the year of the horse now. So I don't know what the last year was, but if it was the year of the snake, then there's a little metaphor. But regardless, you're shedding your skin like a snake. And starting fresh, starting anew, but not starting fresh in the sense that you forget your old self, you're like honoring everything that you've been through. You're honoring your old self. And yeah, I'm getting like a visual of like a butterfly. Like you're still you still have the entire journey you've already been on, but now you're just spreading wings and flying away. I found out recently that butterflies actually have a much shorter lifespan than I thought they did. That's completely irrelevant to you and your reading, but yeah, I thought that was interesting. They only live for like a few weeks. I didn't know that, but I guess it makes sense. But yeah, again, if that don't take that as a sign. I'm sure you're gonna live a long, healthy life. Manifest. But yeah, I want to get into the tarot because I feel like that is the main theme, and now I want to get some more details. I'm really hoping that outside isn't like super loud, because I feel like it always is, and I myself am trying to stay on topic. There's the sun, by the way. Yeah, I feel like, yeah, the sun is coming out after it's raining. I feel like things have been a little bit difficult for you lately, but I feel like you've been handling it really well. Like that's the vibe that I get. I'm using the Affirmators Tarot. So there's actually affirmations in each of these. I don't know if I'm actually gonna read them, like all the affirmations, but yeah. Okay. So let's get a little bit more information. Okay, Spirit, can I get some more information about maybe what they're healing, or actually just, yeah, more information on their healing and the perspective shift that pile 1 needs. We have the 4 of Wands. The Star, very beautiful. 2 of Wands. And the Ace of Wands. Yeah, lots of wands. Wow. Okay. So I feel like this is honestly just confirming that there's a lot of energy on the horizon. Again, you might be feeling it right now. You might be feeling kind of a mixture of like stepping into new ventures and new ideas, but also feeling, okay, I had to cut it out a little. I think the last thing I said was you're also feeling, but what you're also feeling is the remnants of this sort of heavier energy. And so I feel like, yeah, you're kind of in the middle of the transition period where you're allowing your feelings to flow. You're finding more flow. And I feel like, if anything, the reason that you came to this reading was because I feel like that's currently where you're at. That's currently kind of what you're looking for, is how can I get more in the flow? How can I, and what I have to say is, don't rush into this energy, this Wands energy, this, you know, doing, this exploring. I would say to flow is to flow. What you need to just do, I mean, to flow is to allow, you know, it's just allow yourself to be in the energy that you're currently in. Allow yourself to feel. And biggest message ever, be kind to yourself right now while you're feeling this, because that is going to be your superpower, and that's going to be what propels you forward in life. That's going to be what helps you manifest, is being kind to yourself right now. Cutting out the things that make you feel overwhelmed right now, and you don't have to do that indefinitely, but just things that, if you can, that are unnecessary. I'm specifically thinking of social media. If there's anything that kind of like overwhelms your soul, overwhelms your heart, that you've been consuming too much of, again, no shame. Just allow yourself to give yourself a break, not because you have to discipline yourself, but because you simply deserve to feel okay, and you deserve to be in a place where you can actually move forward. Being in a place of guilt and shame, sometimes, ironically, like, it feels productive to people because they think that they're doing right by feeling that. And that's the tricky thing about guilt and shame, is it makes you feel like you're supposed to be feeling that, or you're being a bad person. It's not wrong to feel those things because they're very real emotions, but they can want to keep you stuck as like your form of punishment, and that's not necessary, because you can't move forward and do any helpful action for yourself or for others from that place. So it's kind of ironic because, there's people who sometimes feel guilty for maybe the things that they haven't done or haven't been able to do, but then they don't actually end up doing anything at all because of staying in that state. So it's like would that be a positive feedback loop? I'm pretty sure it keeps you stuck in a cycle. And right now is the time to be kind to your emotions. That's the biggest thing. That's the perspective shift. If you haven't been being kind to yourself, and even if you have been, this is just a reminder. And also, not to rush things. Things are happening in divine timing. You're doing things right, and how you're going to speed up your manifestations is to honor yourself and be kind to yourself, because I can see here there's a lot of hope, and I feel like you're gonna feel this star energy more. You're gonna feel this sort of light within you by allowing yourself to, by honoring your emotions, by honoring your healing journey. It's going to bring you a lot of peace, and you're going to be able to more easily access this light within you that's going to make ideas come quicker. You're going to be like this turtle, relaxing. And I feel like this is honestly coming very soon. So when I say don't rush the healing, like, don't rush the healing process to get to here, because that could ironically make it take longer, because it's like if you had a broken leg, and I feel like you know what I'm gonna say. If you had a broken leg, you wouldn't just try and get up and run a marathon. You would wait until, because then that would lead to even more pain and potential injuries. So, but if you wait until you're fully healed and then you do it, you're gonna be able to do what you want to do, and you're gonna be able to do it quicker. You just need to be kind to yourself during the healing process. So, with that, I am going to get you some angel cards and some angel number cards to leave off the reading. I'm trying to make my readings a little bit shorter because I feel like I've sold like 3 readings on Etsy now, so yay. And every time I do a reading on there, I'm able to put everything in one, notes app thing. And I'm like, the readings don't have to be super, I'm gonna take those. There's 3. I'm gonna take them. And then I'm gonna take one more, so you get a lot. Readings don't have to be super long. I don't know. Sometimes I like them to be long. But I'm like, I am trying to kind of like ground myself rather than, sometimes I feel like I have to say like a bunch of information because I'm like, people are watching this for the most information possible. But, 99, 88, and 7, 7, 8, 9. I'm gonna put that in order. Ooh, I like these affirmations. I forgot that these have affirmations, but these ones feel especially relevant. I'm gonna get one more, but yeah, I feel like when I do my own readings, even for myself, I'm like, they actually end pretty quickly, because like sometimes the message is just clear. Sometimes shorter is better. I don't know, that's just how I'm feeling lately, because whenever I see a quote that's like really short but really powerful, I'm like, damn, like such little words, but they're so powerful. And it feels more effective than if I were to read a whole essay. Sometimes, not all the time. Depends on what words you use. But anyways, can we get one more message for pile 1? Oh, 1111. I love this one. And I'm awakening. I feel like you are. I feel like you're going through a spiritual awakening. Again, if you haven't already, I feel like you're connecting to your soul so much right now. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful to see, because that's exactly the path you want to be on, to be in your highest timeline, to be connected to your higher self, to be on the path that you want to be on, is just being connected spiritually, mentally, physically. So you want to be grounded, you want to feel your emotions, regulate, and be connected spiritually to your higher self. This is a great energy to be in. I feel like not to toot my own horn, I've been trying to be in this energy lately, because obviously there's ebbs and flows, and since the beginning of the year, I'm not gonna lie, I've been in a bit of an ebb. So this is a relatable energy. So anyways, let's read these. 7. These could also be numbers that you see. You possess a very refined mind and a deep urge to uncover life's mysteries. Your ability to acquire vast knowledge on both the informational and spiritual planes gives you a greater awareness than most. The affirmation is, I am brilliant. Number 88, you are on the cusp of a prosperous and abundant spiritual life. You will find numerous opportunities for success and achievement, all of which bring financial and material abundance into your life. I am wealthy. We have 99. It is time to get to work on the realization of your soul's mission in life. You have a higher purpose in this life that is yours and only yours to fulfill. Unleash your true power. I am courageous. And 1111. The universe is arranging people and experiences on your path to help you succeed and helping you wake up to who you truly are. I am awakening. So yeah, you've been on this path, this awakening path, for a while, and you are figuring out how to actually, connect to you so you can help yourself and help others in a way that's truly meaningful. Yeah. Now we're gonna get like 2 or 3 of these cards. I always like to finish with these. They're like my favorite cards right now. Okay, Spirit, angels, what message do you have for pile 1? Messages. So we have transformation. Through the great love that holds you in its embrace, you are moment by moment transforming to ever greater light, ever greater oneness, and ever greater wisdom. We'll get one more. And creative potential. Yeah, with all the wands, that's definitely what I'm getting. You are by nature infinitely creative. Life is a sea of creative potential. I feel like that's supposed to say life is a sea. Life is a sea of creative potential just waiting to be expressed through you. You are free to express all your heart desires. So, yeah. Tap into your creativity. If you feel called to, look into heart chakra healing and sacral chakra healing. That reminded me of that, but I also just realized this has a lot of orange. Sacral chakra. And then this had a lot of green. I didn't mention it, but I noticed that. So in green here, so heart chakra healing could be important for you. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please leave a like if you feel, and if you want to see more readings from me, then please do subscribe. I do offer readings on Etsy as well. That's just like an optional thing. And leave suggestions for any future readings you'd like to see if you want to see any. So yeah, I hope you have a great morning, night, or afternoon. Bye. Hello, pile 2, if you chose the baby clip and snow. Welcome to your reading. I'm gonna reveal the other cards that you got. You got Prosperity Lies Ahead, New Moon in Taurus. Take Inspired Action, Full Moon in Virgo. Night Moon, Shadow Work. And First Pleasure Seeker, Homebody. Her body is her safe space. Oh, hi. My cat just came to sit with me. And I'm taking that as a sign, actually, because it does kind of relate to your reading. I feel like something that you need right now is comfort in general. I feel like if this is your group, you may be currently avoiding yourself a little bit, or maybe you haven't really had a choice. You haven't really been able to think about what feels good. But there is a life that you want to manifest. And I think that the perspective shift needed here. I feel like, honestly, what I want to say is, if you're even watching this, that is a sign that you're on the right path, because being aware that you need a shift is already shifting. Your perspective is already shifting your mind and your emotions and your soul. Or if you're not into the metaphysical part of things, you're shifting your mind, you're shifting your emotions by even focusing on the fact that you need a shift. And I feel like that's important, because you kind of know what needs to be done here. And so this should really just be like a confirmation of, yes, you can focus on you. The shifts that is needed is for you to start working on yourself. And by working on yourself, I don't even mean like, I know shadow work can be kind of daunting, but it doesn't have to be. I specifically chose to use the Pleasure Alchemy deck today, which is what this is, because I feel like there should be more of a focus on things being allowed to feel good. And obviously they're not all gonna feel good. I mean, this card literally says, what does it say? Let me actually read it, because it says that exact thing. Okay, I flipped right to it. It says, the peace of a snowfall invites you to release the stress you've been carrying, but snow isn't always peaceful. Snowstorms force you to sit still, shutting down activity and travel. Without your typical choices, storms force you to confront what you might have been avoiding, which, very true. We had a snowstorm, if you can even call it that, like a few weeks ago. Anyways. And yeah, we couldn't leave. We were just at home. And you're forced to kind of, come face to face with your present and with yourself. That's kind of what winter in general is all about. So if you're familiar with the seasons of life, obviously you know what the seasons are, but we all have seasons in our life. And winter is all about, like this says, rest and contemplation. But I do find it interesting that you got a card about taking inspired action and a card about prosperity, especially since this is in Taurus and this is in Virgo. Those are both earth cards, which usually have to do with doing with the physical world. But I feel like with this card specifically, saying homebody, talking about the body being your safe space, and feeling safe in your body has a lot to do with being grounded, with being, the root chakra is usually associated with this groundedness, and it's usually associated with the earth. So there's a lot about that, and this is also the very first card in the deck. And so it talks about starting your journey, and so that's why I feel like I don't want it to seem daunting when it's like you have to start to work on yourself. It's kind of like, again, it doesn't have to be, maybe you've been avoiding yourself or thinking about how you're going to make your manifestations happen, and it's not all on you to make them happen, obviously. But maybe you've been avoiding confronting some of your feelings, confronting what it is that you truly want, and confronting how you feel. Because out of fear, there can be this narrative, the shadow work again has to be all painful, but at the end of the day, you're getting closer to yourself. And I feel like there was a similar message in the last group regarding shame towards emotions. And I feel like that is why a lot of people avoid feeling their emotions, because they don't want to feel that shame. And it's okay to feel that. And as long as you don't get sucked into it, into wallowing in it, not because you need to be more disciplined about it or you need to shame yourself even more for feeling the shame, but because you deserve forgiveness. Simple as that. And once you can start realizing that shame is an emotion that pulls you deeper down into making you feel like you can't get out of your emotions, and it kind of puts you in your head, at least for some people, at least for me, kind of depending on how it shows up for you, can make you think about all the things that you don't want to think about or that you regret, and just lead to a spiral. And it can make you feel productive, but that's not productive or conducive to you and your healing. The past has happened, and there's nothing we can really do about it. The past has happened, your past has happened, and it's important to be able to forgive yourself and move forward. And I also think that this isn't just about that stuff. Like, I don't think it's just about hard stuff. I also think with this card especially, it's talking about getting to know yourself. There was another card here that talks about that. I think it might have actually been this one. This card also talks about being kinder to yourself, of course. Let me see specifically what it said. Like, because it gives you like little extra meanings. And yeah, this one, it said, getting clear on what you value most will help you find peace. It also says you will soon be able to afford the thing you're dreaming of. So if there's also misbeliefs, I was gonna say limiting beliefs, but sometimes that can be, I don't always like to say limiting beliefs because it feels kind of like a privileged thing to say. But whatever. Like, if you have beliefs about money, that makes sense. I mean, look at the world we live in. There's a lot of negative beliefs about money, and I guess, limiting beliefs. Money doesn't have to be evil. You don't have to want to be a billionaire, because most sane people don't want that. So money doesn't have to be evil is one thing, and you can also attain it despite what everybody says, despite what a lot of people say about how things are. Sorry, the beeping outside is distracting me. It's been going on all day, but you can attain money. And I think it's important for you right now to kind of shut out all the noise. I think that that's very important for you, because right now you might be in a very vulnerable position emotionally to take on other people's beliefs and be very susceptible to what other people are saying about the world, and or just like about your internal belief system. I think right now what you need, the perspective shift that's needed, is to get closer with yourself, and really start honing in on what you value so that nothing else can kind of shake that up. Because there's a lot of need for, like, if you're into like chakra healing, I would suggest the lower chakras, definitely the root chakra, sacral chakra, solar plexus, definitely, maybe even the heart chakra, to focus on those if you want to look into that. Because I think the reason that there is, so much, there's stuff about action here, but there's also stuff about rest and contemplation. And I feel like that's because once you rest, once you kind of shut out the noise, once you really give yourself time to come face to face with yourself and focus on what brings you pleasure, not just pleasure, but just also what you value and what makes you feel safe, what you actually want, what actually feels good. I think that you just, right now, more than anything, need to be as honest with yourself as possible. Journaling can help a lot with that. And once you're more grounded, you'll be able to take inspired action, not just action that's coming from a place of survival instincts or expectations, or feeling, not just action that just doesn't feel aligned with you. Because I feel like maybe the reason you're here in this reading is because you've been taking action that doesn't necessarily feel aligned with you, and you've been wondering, how can I take action that feels aligned with me? And it's about cultivating a positive relationship with yourself, giving yourself grace, giving yourself peace, allowing yourself to you don't need to know, like, it's okay to shut off the noise for a little bit. You can come back to it later. It's always going to be there, but it's okay to shut off the noise for a little bit. You're not obligated to it. And I think that's what you need to hear, is you're not obligated to the noise. You have no obligation to it right now. You can take a break and be with yourself. See what feels good for you emotionally, physically, mentally. This is a time to explore you. And again, there might be some shadow work in there where you find some things out. There may be, it's not going to be like unbearable pain. It's going to just be like, there may be some tough emotions that come up, but if you work on that relationship, on grounding yourself, it may be a little bit tough at times, but I think ultimately this is a little similar to the last group, because the last group had a theme of healing as well. But yeah, that's essentially what this is. It's healing a relationship with yourself, healing certain things. It's not all about healing. There are certain things that maybe haven't been looked at in a while, maybe you've been avoiding, and I think those things are coming to light whenever you spend time with yourself. And so I think it's important that you aren't afraid of those things, because they can't hurt you, they can't control you, and you can look at the things that you may have been afraid to look at through a different lens, through a lens of, this isn't there to hurt me, it's not there for me to be afraid of, it's there because it's a part of you that wants attention and it wants nourishing. So I think that's what's important about our negative emotions. They want nourishing. They just want to be listened to and acknowledged and nurtured. They're not there to hurt you. And I think that's what you need to know right now. And I'm going to get into the tarot to get more information. Yeah, there's a a very gentle energy. I feel like you definitely have, if you believe in this, a lot of spirit guides around you right now that are, or just, even if it's just like a few, you have gentle guides with you at the moment, that are encouraging you to also be gentle with yourself. Gosh, these are big cards. They're very cute though. Okay, Spirit. What is pile 2? What perspective shift do they need to be aligned with their highest timeline and their highest self? Okay, that one fell on the floor. The Sun. Okay, I thought that was, I saw this card and I mentioned it in the last pile, so this is interesting. There's a running theme today. So, 4 of Swords, and this little tiger is meditating. I feel like, yes, you need to be in your meditating tiger energy. The 4 of Wands. Okay, and the 10 of Pentacles. That's cute. Okay, I've never seen this card because I just got this deck recently. That's really cute. And I feel like this definitely aligns with the prosperity lies ahead. So give me a second because there was a lot of noise outside and I kind of got off my groove. I don't really remember what I wanted to say at all. So, yeah, let's just go with that. You don't have to be perfect. I feel like I said this in the last group. It's a time to be kind to yourself, number one, before I get into the rest. Because I think that there's like a collective message so far about going with the flow. Everything that I said also, while those cards were the only cards out, is also something that applies. And this card is a card of rest and contemplation. There's another 4 I just noticed. I feel like this is honestly your spirit guides coming in to say, because like before I started doing the tarot, I was getting a feeling of your spirit guides being here, and I feel like this is them coming in with their energy to honestly just be very positive and to lift you up, because everything that's already been said about the perspective shift, I feel like that's all that needed to be said. So this just feels honestly like a positive message. Especially, this is so cute. This is such a cute card. These are all so cute. You can do it, which is like, may seem like a very simple message. But this is your spirit guides cheering you on. They're a bunch of little raccoons running around saying you're a rock star. But like, I don't know. That is what this feels like. It just feels like very positive. You have, with the Sun, they're literally telling you, like, there's so much light energy here, and I feel like the reason is because it's saying, like, again, the biggest shift that you need right now, like perspective-wise, is to not be afraid of your shadow. It's not going to hurt you, and there's a lot of happiness and there's a lot of healing on the other side, and also during the process. I feel like ultimately right now your guides want you to focus on, this card is all about celebrating, on the celebratory process of going within. Like, it should be one of those things where even if it seems silly, like, give yourself a pat on the back, like, whenever you just really be really proud of yourself whenever you choose to do like a meditation or a journaling session, or take quiet time, or, you know, journal about or just ask yourself, however feels right to you, ask yourself, what will feel good for me today? What do I value today? And really put energy towards that. Really reflect. And again, reflect on what you want. Not just on yes, on a material level and on like a more superficial level, but also on what your soul is craving, what your body is craving, what your emotions are craving, and take inspired action from that place. Once you start doing that, like, just honestly, it could be the smallest thing as well, because if you're gonna start small, or you don't have to, but if you, maybe that's why you chose the tiny one. It's okay. Like, you should be proud of yourself. Even doing like the tiniest thing that is taking action, or action, it doesn't even have, like, just acknowledging your inner voice and your inner critic, acknowledging them both, speaking to them both, integrating both, becoming one with yourself, and not being afraid of rage either, not being afraid of negative, quote, negative feelings. And I feel like that's really the shift that's needed here to propel you forward in life, to manifest, because there might be certain blocks from your manifestations, and the reason those blocks are there is because you're being guided to not avoid them. You can't really clear them if you're not looking at them, and it could be because you see the shadow as a negative thing, but it's not a negative thing. It can be very light. The whole process can be, yes, tough, but I think that your guides are asking you to really look, and not in like a toxic positivity way. Look at the beauty of it. Look at the beauty of the darkness within you. Very poetic. But yeah, that's really what this is. Really, because I think your inner child is someone who embraces love through everything and connecting to that part of you. Because I feel like, yeah, you could be like super financially successful. Like, I feel like you're a natural manifester for money. The only reason that it's felt blocked is because it does require you to look at the sort of darker parts, or the parts that you think are dark. But in reality, it just requires you to embrace yourself, embrace what feels good, and embrace the flow. Get truly connected to yourself. Take a more, maybe even humoristic approach. That's a word, humor. Yeah. Be like the light in the darkness. If you were in a cave, if your emotions were a cave, you are like the glowing light. You're like the guy that glows in sky high. That's you. But like, actually, you have a light within. You don't need any external flashlight, or it's okay to ask for help. I feel like that's important to say when you need it, when you feel like you can't be your own light, but there is light all around you, and you are light, and I feel like it's time to really embrace that light. And you can embrace that light in the darkness, and it's okay. And yeah, I hope this made sense. I am gonna get to the angel cards, the closing messages, because I hope that made sense, but it's honestly really hard. I'm trying to just push through and not pay attention to the construction that's still going on months later right outside where I live, but it's like, It's actually so hard to focus on what I'm saying, and that seems stupid, but okay. We're gonna get some angel number cards first. Okay, we have 6. I am nurturing. Yes. Your heart is your gift. You are a natural born nurturer and have a great talent for helping and healing others. You're the epitome of self-sacrifice and a protector of those you love. So I also just feel like if you, the more you connect with yourself, the more natural it's going to feel to serve the collective as well, because I feel like that's something that your soul is good at. But if you're not like at a current capacity where you feel like you can do that, it's not like a moral failure on your part at all. It's honestly just the strongest people have a good relationship with themselves. That's just the truth. That's just how it is. Some people wonder, how are they so strong in the face of all that's going on? And it's because they've nurtured themselves. They know their values to the point where nothing can shake them. And I mean, like, in a sense, I mean, I'm sure they get shaken up by things. Everybody does. But yeah, it's not about throwing yourself more into the depths of things that you can't handle. You have to like have a good foundation, and you know, it's just important to build that so you have strength. Nurturing yourself builds strength. I feel like there's this kind of more patriarchal idea that it's the opposite, and there's that being disciplined, and there's room for discipline, but you know that like emotions are like the opposite of strength. If people aren't, this isn't just to you specifically, but people who aren't emotionally intelligent and emotionally mature don't have true strength, because they will crack under the pressure because they don't know themselves, they don't know their emotions. I'm not saying that's you, I'm just kind of ranting at this point, but anyways. It's incredibly important to have a good emotional relationship with yourself. Okay, and we have number 29. I am insightful. You are highly intuitive and creative. Your mind thinks in pictures, and you seem to draw information and ideas from out of the sky. A powerful drive to know the oneness of all things. We're gonna get one more. I like that. So you're connected to the divine. Just know that. And we have 99 with I am courageous. It's time to get to work on the realization of your soul's mission in life. You have a higher purpose in this life that is yours and only yours to fulfill. Unleash your true power. And lastly, we're going to get some angel cards. I love to use this deck. I use it in almost all my readings at the end. Oh god, okay. Well, we have surrender there, so if that means anything to you. Angels, what do you have to tell pile 2? We have healing angel. At this very moment, you are being bathed in gold, pink, and deep green light. Accept this healing. We, your angels, surround you with wings of love. You are eternally free, eternally fresh, and eternally abundant. Okay, the surrender card came out anyways, so there you go. There is no point in pushing the barrow up such a steep hill. Go back to the start, surrender your expectations. There is an easier way. When the time is right, a new path will appear. So yeah, I also do feel like that is kind of saying like you don't have to try so hard. It's not something to be afraid of. It's something to surrender to. It's it's whatever you believe it is, really. And that goes for a lot of things. Not everything, but that goes for a lot of things. You know, your relationship will be what you make it, whether that's your relationship with yourself or with other people. That's what, well, other people can be unpredictable, but you can only do what you can do. And precious gift, friendship, family, and love are precious gifts. Do not lose sight of what is important. And I feel like that might be something that is important to you, and something that if you haven't been paying attention to lately or valuing, you're going to find that you really value that over anything else. Or not anything, but like if you're someone who has been throwing themselves into work or things that you don't enjoy over more loving gifts like friendship, family, and love, that might be something that you are coming to terms with, is something that is more important to you and something that you shift your life towards. And in general, I also think, because I felt called earlier to, when I was saying the cave analogy, to say that it's okay to ask for help. So you don't have to do this all alone. I know it's an introspection. There's a lot of messages about introspection, but that doesn't mean you have to be alone through all of it. So I feel like that's an important message. Oh, okay. That one kind of like flipped out randomly, so I'm gonna take that. Archangel Gabriel. So maybe Archangel Gabriel wants to come through. You will soon receive some positive news. The channels for clear and honest communication, I'm taking that as a confirmation, are now open. Keep an open heart and speak your truth lovingly without fear. So yeah, this is all about keeping an open heart through it all, if you can. It's okay to have ebbs in the flow, but remember to come back to yourself and your heart. So yeah, I hope you liked this reading. I hope it made sense, because I was a little bit out of it, trying to stay focused. But yeah, if you have any suggestions for future readings, please do, don't hesitate to leave them in the comments. And if you want to see more readings, please do subscribe. So yeah, I also have readings that I have on Etsy for, I don't actually remember the price I said on them, but it doesn't, if you want one of those, the link is in my bio. So I hope you have a great rest of your day, morning, or night. So day, morning, morning, afternoon, or night. Yes. Bye. Hello, pile 3. If you chose Keroppi and the Harvest card, welcome. I'm gonna get your other cards now. So we have New Moon in Gemini. Communication is key. We have 8th Spark Remedy, Games. Yin Moon, Accept Help. And New Moon in Taurus, Know Your Worth. I could be wrong. I feel like a Taurus card came out in every group. Maybe not. It definitely came out in the last group though. Either way, the message here is very clear. I think it's so funny, but it also makes me feel happy and relieved when the message is clear, because it makes it easier to deliver, because everything in each one of these cards, even though they're very different, talk about the same thing, which is that it is time to go easier on yourself. It's time to play. It's not time to work. It's time to work. Fuck. It's time to play. It's time to stop working. I feel like I said it's time to work because, like, when you want to play and not work, like, that's like your brain right now. It's like hijacking. Yeah, the perspective shift that you need right now, especially with Know Your Worth, with all of this, it talks about knowing that you're deserving of your manifestations. And I feel like the reason that one came out with all of this other stuff is because I feel like you may be putting in you've been very hard on yourself and overworking yourself with the belief that that is going to make you deserving, or with the belief that that is going to get you your manifestations quicker. And I think it's great that you're doing so much, because it's not a bad thing to be determined and to be hardworking. There does need to be a balance, because if you are burning yourself out, which you may not even realize you're burning yourself out, but if your body is not feeling good, that's a sign. If you're not feeling good and emotionally, mentally, if you're just not feeling good in any form, that may be a sign. It's not a challenge to keep pushing yourself further. It's a sign to take a beat, take a rest. And I feel like that's very important. I've said this in all the groups. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're receiving this message, because it's important for you to hear. And another thing I want to say is that the fact that you're even here watching this reading shows that you, to some extent, not just to some extent, to a very large extent, know this. Like, you know, because you wouldn't be here looking for, like, you're already on the right path, looking for answers and looking for ways, because there's an intuitive part of you that knows exactly this, that while determination and hard work is good, you might be pushing yourself to the brink. To the brink of what? I don't you might just be pushing yourself to the edge. And this card, it said something else, because it has multiple meanings, but again, it's about communicating, because it does talk about communicating with someone, being open about your feelings, being more, there it is, being softer about your feelings, being open. It says talking things through is the answer to whatever it is you're asking about. If you can't talk to that person, you can journal about it to yourself. Emails, text messages, and all other forms of communication will also help you now. And additional meanings, time to tell someone how you feel. Don't be all in your head and not in your heart. I feel like that's important. Someone is flirting with you. That could be for someone. Read more books. That could also be for someone. But specifically, don't be all in your head and not in your heart stood out to me. Let me make sure it's still recording. Sorry, sometimes I get scared that it's just gonna stop. Because I don't have a lot of storage. This card literally says, this games card, like in the book. So this deck is from the Pleasure Alchemy deck. So it does talk all about, pleasure, play, not work, but it doesn't really mention work in every single one of the things. But I found it interesting how it specifically said, a game gives you an environment free of duty and responsibility. It's an opportunity to relax and recharge. Don't worry about the consequences and don't get too invested in any outcomes. Simply let yourself enjoy the game. Be playful. Every game you play is an opportunity to take pleasure in your own creativity and ingenuity. So, okay, I guess it didn't say work, but it said duty and responsibility. And I feel like you've been putting a lot on yourself. And again, I feel like the reason for that is, I know that it can be kind of confusing, because I get confused personally sometimes when it comes to manifestation, because some people say you just have to manifest the energy, but then some people, like even sometimes like my cards, like the oracle cards that I have, some will talk about manifesting, being in your quote feminine energy or just receptive energy, and then other cards will say, like, you actually have to do things. You have to put, your money where your mouth is. Is that what that means? I think it is. So I say things and then I doubt what I'm saying, even though I know for a fact that that's what that means. Anyways, that you have to take action. And I feel like yes, yes, you do have to take action. But there was a card that came out in the last group that said take inspired action, and I feel like that's important. The inspired part is important because you shouldn't take action from a place of survival mode or force. Any action that's forced, I just feel like is not aligned action. Any action that feels forced, like you feel forced to do it, and like, obviously, I know we need money to survive, and most people probably would prefer to not work. But at the same time, it's like you have to have discernment, right? It's like with how much you're forcing yourself to do something and how much it's affecting your body and your mental and emotional well-being. Because obviously, with anything, there's going to be days where you don't like to work. And honestly, I would say that if you're in a position where you absolutely hate it every single day and it's dragging you down every single day, then yeah, not for you. There are other ways, there are other jobs to get money. I know people are always talking about how horrible the economy is and how horrible the job market is. That's kind of true, but also that's where manifestation comes in. I'm not gonna lie. There are things that are like, there's some leeway on where it actually does matter what you believe, and when it comes to stuff outside of your control, like it can feel very much like, oh, well, the job market is out of my control. When it comes to stuff like that, that's where I personally feel like it does help to believe in some sort of magical element to manifestation. And even if you don't, I still think that when it comes to how you're approaching life right now, even if you don't want to approach it from a magical perspective, which if you do, I would highly encourage it. Obviously, be grounded, but do spell work. Like, fucking, it's okay to do that. If that's like something that you're into or something that you've thought about and you're just not sure if it works, just dabble in it. Obviously, use discernment. I'm not asking you to do like crazy spells or anything. But there's magic in the world, and I think it's important for you to believe that in some form right now, because you've been putting way too much pressure on yourself to do everything. I would say it's like a more masculine energy, but it's not with the way that things are in our society, a lot of like masculine energy is actually like just overtly masculine. Like in it's not like a healthy masculine, because there should be a healthy balance within everyone of masculine and feminine energy. And obviously we're just talking about stereotypical, we're not even talking about gender actually, we're just talking about the energy of receiving and the energy of doing, the energy of magic and the energy of practicality. And in a lot of societies, especially in the US and just the West in general, there is like 70-80% focus on the practicality and like 20% on like the magic. And yeah, it can be it's not equal, it's not balanced, and it can put a lot of people under a lot of stress to feel like it's their sole responsibility to do every little thing and control every little thing, but it's not. Okay, regardless of what you believe spiritually, it's not your responsibility to put everything on you. That's why people are so chronically stressed. Obviously, there's other reasons, but that's one of them. And again, even if you're not necessarily wanting to dive into some sort of, like, you don't actually have to do magic, you just have to, or you don't have to, but like you can even just believe in magical elements of life. But even if you don't want to do that, it's important to embrace a softer energy that allows other people to help you. If not the universe, if not your spirit guides, then other people. And if not other people, allow yourself to rest. Allow yourself to trust in something enough to give yourself a break and know that like the whole world, like in your world, is not going to crumble beneath you just because, you know, you take a week off or even quit your job. Like, things are going to be okay. Rest is necessary for rejuvenation. You know, you can't just, like people say, you can't pour from an empty cup. You also can't produce from a place of just being tired and depleted. That's not good for anyone. And yeah, that's the message here. It's time to embrace, and the reason that this could be hard, embracing this, it's time to embrace a time of play, a time of rest, a time of letting go of so much responsibility. And the reason that this can be really, honestly, tough, because I'm not saying it's easy, it's definitely, it can be easier said than done, especially if this is a place from which you've operated from for a while and are just used to. And the hardest part about embracing that energy is trusting that everything's going to be okay and that everything's going to work out. That's a hard thing for even me. And I'm someone who believes in occult things. I believe in magical things, and it's still difficult to sometimes let go of the practical side of things and the belief that if nobody, or if I don't do it, nobody will, or if I don't do it, like, it'll never get done. Every once in a while, that's like it in a sense, that's like that can be healthy to an extent, like part of that. Like, it's good to want to take life into your own hands and take action, but if it's coming from a place of survival mode or limiting beliefs about what you can just naturally receive, or a place of control. If it's coming from a place of control because you don't think that things will be okay unless you're controlling every single thing, that's when it becomes unhealthy. So I'm gonna get into the tarot now, because I feel like that was a good place to, I don't have anything more to say there. I want to get more info now. We have the moon. Yeah, there's lots of number one, there's a running theme in all the readings today about being more gentle with yourself. Each reading has been different, but being gentle has been, and being more introspective has been a theme. But it's been in different ways. The message has come through in different ways. Ultimately, the perspective shift lies in allowing a little more flow, which kind of makes sense because it's not something a lot of people allow into their lives all the time. So I'm not surprised that that's a running theme today. We have the Empress as well. Keep card. Okay. Spirit, what else does pile 3 need to know? Oh, okay. We have Death. That came out pretty fucking quickly. Cool. We have the 5 of Swords. The King of Swords. I feel like you've been protecting your heart, or just opting for logic, like very logical brained, as opposed to maybe letting more of your feelings in. But with the Five of Swords, I don't think that this is a mode of being that really serves you well. And then we have the Sun. Cute. That came out in the last pile, and I love to see it. And I also noticed it in the first, like, it didn't come out in the first group, but I, like, when I split the deck while I was shuffling, I noticed it. So yeah, definitely a theme of things are easier than you may take them for. Things are brighter. Things are, and again, this isn't like a toxic positivity message. It's just perspective, and it doesn't mean that you're ignoring the deeper, darker things and aspects of life and aspects of self, because those are important, but it's about realizing that there's light within you, and that's the most important thing here. I think that this is cute. I feel like maybe I could be wrong about this. This might not be for everyone, but maybe you've been in a mode lately where you've kind of been a little bit like coming from this place of trying to be more like logical and in your head and practical. Maybe you've been a little porcupine who's been stinging people a little, or poking people, or maybe pushing people away a little bit. Maybe you've just been a little bit more snappy with others. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Or again, I talked a lot about shame in the other piles. That is not meant to shame you. That just could be like a confirmation. And also just like, I want to mention it because I feel like this mode of trying to control everything has, maybe it's been something that's been going on for a while, and it feels like your natural mode of being, but you don't actually feel happiest when you do that, but it feels natural. I mean, I can relate to that in the sense of anxiety. It feels necessary, and it feels, you get like a false sense of everything being okay, but your body, if you actually listen to it, doesn't feel particularly good. It's kind of ironic. It's kind of odd how you can feel in control and also like total shit at the same time, because it's a false sense of control, and really what it's just doing is keeping your nervous system consistently activated. I know nervous system is kind of a buzz term right now, but it's true. I mean, you know, it's good to talk about it. It's good that people are recognizing it. I want to talk about this. Obviously, big changes coming in your life, and with the Death card, when it came out, I felt the need to say, like, if you've never watched tarot before, this is not a card about actual death. And I'm taking that to mean, like, whether or not you actually are like a seasoned watcher of tarot or a seasoned tarot reader yourself or any of that, this is giving me the vibe that this card, because at this point when this card comes out for me, I get really excited because I love this card because it means change. But that was giving me the vibe of like being scared of this card, whether you know what it means or not. There's fear of change, or there's just fear around like, what does that mean? Why does it say death? Like that kind of thing. And it's like, I don't know, that's like the vibe I was getting. But regardless, and I like how it starts with death and ends with the sun. Like it starts and ends with a major arcana. And like this is just saying like it's gonna be positive change. There is, I mean, if you're aligning with your highest self and highest timeline, like obviously it's high, it's good. And yes, it can be kind of scary getting there because facing certain things isn't always comfortable. Change is not always comfortable. The process of change is very much not always comfortable. To get a little personal, like I struggle with OCD, and the process of letting it go is literally being able to allow yourself to sit with the uncomfortable feelings, not purposefully, or sometimes purposefully if you're doing purposeful exposure therapy, but like not giving into compulsions, because even though they feel satisfying in the moment or comfortable, they, give you a sense of control. I know for me, it actually, in the long run, number one, makes my body feel worse because I feel tense. And two, it leaves you in this loop of feeling like you need to do that every time to feel safe. And whatever this is for you, it's, obviously not doing the thing that your body has become used to, that your mind has become used to, what feels technically safe, is scary. That's why change is so scary, because your body is used to one thing feeling safe, even if it's not particularly healthy. And the way that you can tell something isn't healthy, even though it feels safe to your mind and to your body, I feel like it mostly feels safe to your mind, but not to your body. Your body will tell you if something, and sometimes your mind, your emotions, you'll feel in your body when something isn't feeling good. Even if it feels, safe, quote unquote safe and habitual, it feels like the natural thing to do. But getting in tune with your body, which is another recommendation I'm going to make, getting in tune with your body, you can look into ways to do that. Obviously, yoga and meditation and grounding is always a great way. But getting in tune with your body makes you see, like, oh, I actually don't feel fucking good. This does not feel good. It's just a habit, but it's not making me feel better in the long run, and that's important. And yeah, I feel like that is like the message here. It's kind of going more based off of what we already talked about, which is that the King of Swords isn't necessarily a negative card, but being that it came after the Five of Swords and what we're talking about right now, I feel like there has been positives technically to this more logical, practical approach, because it's given you that sense of control, but it's also put you on guard. It's put your heart on guard and disconnected you a bit from your truth and from your feelings. But you know that. And because you feel that, and you're here. You know that it's not feeling good, and that's important. And that is where the perspective needs to shift to a more balanced approach, a more kind approach. And again, that's going to be, we're acknowledging here that it's going to be a little bit scary. It's a transition. It's going to be a little bit scary, but this is your confirmation that it's going to lead to happiness and peace. And I also want to emphasize that everything, I've been saying this in every group, everything is ebb and flow. You don't have to be perfect all the time. I think it's just important to even start the journey, even be on it. Like, maybe this is not the first time you're hearing this message, for example, and maybe you were in the you were always kind of transitioning, but maybe you were kind of in a more emotional, receptive state for a little bit, and then kind of went, got sucked back into this state, and that's okay. It's okay to go back and forth while you're transitioning to, that's part of the journey. That's part of the journey. It's not all about like getting everything now. And so I just feel like it's important that you know that, because yeah, it's important. And basically the thing that is going to keep you aligned. Because when we get unaligned, it doesn't mean like we're completely thrown off course and we need to go back to the beginning and start over. It's just like, you know, you take a wrong turn maybe, or I don't want to use the word wrong, but you know, you take a turn that, like, you took the wrong exit. Like if you were going on a GPS, oh no, I took the wrong exit. It was supposed to be the next one, but then your map reroutes you. You can still get back on. And I feel like it's important for you to know that. And yeah, basically what's going to keep you on the right route is learning to trust yourself, learning to take a more balanced approach between doing and just believing and receiving, learning to accept help from the universe, from others, from the metaphysical, from others again. And yeah, that is going to keep you on the right path. So thinking, is there anything else I want to say before I get angel cards? I think that's it. Yeah, I just want to again emphasize this cute sun card. Like, things are brighter than they seem. And you've still been doing a good job. You've just learned to protect yourself under the guise of control. And again, you shouldn't shame yourself for it. You deserve to feel good. You deserve to feel happy. You deserve to be able to let go of these walls that you've put up to protect yourself. And you deserve peace and happiness, and you're going to get that. You're on the road there. So, okay, we're gonna get some angel number cards. Let me make sure my phone is not dead. It's okay, cool. We're still going. And then I'm gonna get some angel healing cards as well. Oops. Yeah, with how long it's taking these to come out, I kind of get the feeling like you may not fully buy into, even though you're watching a tarot reading, you may not fully buy into spirit guides or something metaphysical, or if you want to believe in it, it's kind of hard because, again, you've been in such a practical mindset that it's been hard to open up to that. And I don't want to force you to open up to that, but that's just what I am feeling. So whatever feels right to you, because I feel like you'll know, like, I feel like there's a good amount of people in this group who do want to be open to that. But again, it's up to you. It's not required. So number 20, you relate to others on an almost cosmic level. You are dedicated to building harmonious relationships of all kinds. You have the ability to persuade others to your point of view by using gentle means. I am harmonious. So yeah, there was, oh gosh, was it this card? Probably. To take a more gentle approach in convincing if you're trying to convince others of something. And yeah, I feel like you do naturally connect with others, and that's why there's so much about accepting help here. I feel like maybe you've lost touch a little bit with other people or your relationships to others because you've been a little bit more harsh on yourself lately. And, you know, if we're hard on ourselves, we're hard on others as well. So, okay, number 28, I am a leader. In an effort to accomplish great things, you recognize the value of working with others. You make a capable and compassionate leader who can bring people together and drive a team toward achievement. So that just made me think maybe you're like the head of something, which I've never been the head of something, but I've known people who like, from going from like being just part of something to being the leader of something, there's a lot more responsibility that becomes yours. And maybe that's, if that resonates for anyone, maybe that's something where it became harder to, you know, you just naturally fell into that role, this sort of King of Swords role, you know, and it became so natural that, you know, you've always been someone who is like, oh, well, I'd be a nice boss, you know, I'd be, and not that you're mean, I don't think that's the case, but, you know, when you feel drowned in responsibilities, your nervous system does feel more dysregulated, and it feels harder to connect with others and be that for others. I feel like a lot of people just in general who get like promoted fall into that, and it's not on purpose and no one should be shamed for it, but it does happen. And yeah, it just becomes harder to connect with the people that you once felt so equal to, and you always want to see others as equals. But when there's so much responsibility on you, it can feel difficult to find that connection. And that doesn't make anyone a bad person. And also, like, if that's like not relevant to you, I just want to say that this is making me think like you would be a very gentle leader. I think that maybe, I honestly, not maybe, I think that that's where life is taking you. And leader, it doesn't have to mean like, you know, in the traditional sense. It can be like leader of anything that resonates with you. It doesn't have to be like the CEO of whatever company, unless that's what you want. And I think the reason that this perspective shift and healing is so important is because in order to be that gentle leader that truly connects with others, because I think if you were in this leader position, you would want that. You would want to be a kind, gentle leader. And I think that's what you're meant to be, meant to embody. And yeah, you have to, I heard like be primed for that position. Like, you know, do the work now to learn how to regulate yourself so that when you're in that position, you are able to still connect with others, even and not crack under their responsibility, be more balanced and harmonious, like this is saying. Okay. Well, this is a master number 44. Your angels are encouraging you to continue on your present life path with diligence and determination, and even greater success will come in the future. I am supported. So that's a very positive message. Okay, now we're gonna get some messages from the Healing Angel Cards deck. I always say like, oh, I won't use it this time because I use it in every video, but I really like this deck a lot. I've had it for a long time. Okay. Angels, what messages do you have for pile 3, heart and soul? When making your decision, take into account what your heart and soul are saying. Sometimes the mind can deceive us. Choose through love, not fear. Yeah, one of the main messages here, connect to your heart. Oh, and heart song. What is your heart saying? Stop and listen. Your truth lies within the empty spaces between your thoughts. Your truth shines through from within your soul. Your truth is that which is which is eternal and unchanging. Your truth is love. So yeah, I'm gonna get one more, but heart chakra healing. I also thought like there's a lot of sort of dark colors, which made me think of the third eye. But it also makes me think of, this one is obviously throat chakra energy, using your voice for good. And yeah, I feel like you're someone who uses your voice a lot, and if not, you're supposed to like be influential. If that's, yeah, you're supposed to be influential, and that is the path that you're on. If that's something that you want, I think that's something that your soul wants. And the more you truly connect with your heart, the more you connect with yourself, because you may not even know like what you want to influence. You might, but you might not even feel connected to that part of yourself yet. And this will really help you connect to, like, if you felt confused about where you belong in the world and what your purpose is, connecting to yourself will bring you more clarity. Connecting to receptive energy will bring you more clarity, and connecting to your heart. So, oh my god. Okay, we're gonna get one more. And we got destiny. Your destiny is to blossom, to shine, to transform to an ever greater light. So yeah, I was literally just talking about destiny, purpose, and I think that this came out because it's important for you to know also that, especially if you're in a state right now where you're still feeling that duty and responsibility, it's not just your destiny to serve the world and that become your only thing. Your destiny is to blossom for yourself as well, and to transform to an ever greater light, like the sun. It is for the good of the collective, but it's also for the good of you. You healing benefits the collective. So yeah, I hope you liked this reading. If you have any suggestions for future readings, don't hesitate to leave them down below. And yeah, if you want to watch more readings, please do subscribe. I also have some readings on Etsy. If you want a personal reading, that will be in my bio. And yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your day, night, or afternoon. Bye.